Qa'ada, we ask him, the Most High, to continue to show his mercy on our leader, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household and companions and followers till the day of accountability. Today we are discussing the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith of Anas, the son of Malik. Anas is a great companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anas said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in that hadith, that three qualities, if achieved in one's heart, that person will have the sweetness of Iman, which means Iman is having sweetness. Iman is sweet, sweeter than any other thing you think of, sweeter than the wealth you accumulate, sweeter than the house you are proud of, sweeter than the position you occupy. You know, it is because people are finding sweetness in being multi-billionaires. That's why they gather the billions. They have sweetness in the mansions they are building. They have sweetness and joy in the ride they are riding. That's why they go for first class ride, first class houses, first class everything. Now, Iman, first class Iman, is sweeter than everything you can experience. And that's why the companions were trained on that sweetness. And that's why they suspended anything in this life that is against the teaching of Allah and that of Rasulullah. That's why Rasulullah informed them that three qualities, three characters, three behaviors, if you have them, you are having the sweetness, the highest level of sweetness of Iman. Number one, you must love Allah and His Messenger much more than anything in this world. And this is where the challenge lies. This is where the challenge lies. If our hearts are to be operated to see where the location of love is, thousands of Muslims are going to fail. Thousands and even millions of Muslims are going to fail. Because from their hearts, the element of love there is below average. And that's why we have criminals, highest level of criminality among the Muslims. Because the heart needs to be occupied by the love of Allah and the love of His Messenger. And that heart is vacuum of that. What occupies it is materialism and arrogance, feeling too big, being friend of Shaitan all the time. And the Sahabas were able to occupy it with the love of Allah, with the love of Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so there is no vacuum for Shaitan. There is no vacuum. And you see, the love of Allah and the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are always together. Are always together. The personality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not a small personality. It's the highest level of any personality. Look at somebody accepting Islam now. He must testify that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a messenger, or else he's not a Muslim. When the muazzin is raising the adhan, he must mention Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or else that adhan is not complete. And that's why when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned this hadith, he mentioned Rasul and Allah together. أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. Together. And that's why the verse confirms it. إن كنتم تحبون الله. If you really love Allah, فاتبعوني, you must follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah will love you. And Allah will forgive you. Allah is forgiving and merciful. So the two cannot be separated. And that's why you'll be surprised of those who are called Qur'aniyun. People who did not go to school. You cannot. It has never happened that you say you are following Quran. Follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the Quran. He is the Quran in practice. Even if Quran tells you of anything, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to tell you how to do it, how to go about it. You must be a joker when you have any other source apart from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The salat, which is the greatest act of worship apart from Tawheed. Allah has never explained salat in nitty-gritty in the Quran. Always waqimu salah. Waqimu salah. How do you go about it? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you really love Allah, automatically you must follow the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 2, you should love your fellow brother Muslim because of Islam. You don't love anybody except for being a Muslim. That does not mean you go and cheat others or you underrate them. No, that special love is for a Muslim. It should be there in your heart. It gives you sweetness of Iman. And that was what was demonstrated in Medina. A clear demonstration that the world has never witnessed. The love between Ansar and the Muhajirun. It's a wonderful one. They love one another much more than their biological brothers and sisters. That is Iman. Number 3, you should hate. You should hate anything kufr, as you have hated being thrown into a live fire. Nobody would like to be thrown into a live fire, burning. Now you should hate kufr as you hate being thrown into live fire. In fact, some hadith said you should prefer being thrown into a live fire than going back to kufr. The hadith is sound too. If you have to have option of either being thrown into live fire or going back to kufr, you should prefer going to the live fire, because little are you going to suffer here, but the fire there is billions and billions of years inside. And the two fires are incomparable. Now, these 3 things earn you sweetness of Iman. Today, that sweetness is lacking, and that's why a number of criminalities are being committed among the Muslim Ummah. Because the heart is vacuum, and the shaitan occupies it. So we should try from today to increase our love for Allah and His Messenger, and to increase our love for the Muslim Ummah brothers, and to hate any culture that is against our own culture. You shouldn't be going during the wedding of your daughters and children, you'll be dancing at the age of 75 or 65 in the name of pleasing other cultures. For what reason? Right from the marriages, things are spoiled. Things are spoiled, and you don't expect children from such type of marriage to be ideal in nature. And that's why the products are becoming more worse than those who produce them. Muslims are becoming unrefined crude with all the messages. Unrefined crude. Iman is supposed to be refined because of presentations from the Quran and the Sunnah. Unfortunately, when the heart is occupied with the gap of shaitan, and there is no place for Allah and His Messenger, so no amount of preaching, no amount of admonition, no amount of death, no amount of crisis scared the heart. Hadith of Anas said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you are not a believer until you love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam much more than yourself, your parents, your children, and all that is in the universe. And the hadith is sound. I ask Him, the Most High, to count all of us among those who are increasing their love for Allah and their love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and their love for one another, and hating anything kufr. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة في الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وصليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad wa barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid.